Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys, trader and technical analyst for the last 14 years. We had NVDA bringing the volatility we knew was coming. We had Chinese stocks up overnight on headlines, and where I'm looking next for bull rotation to attempt to take place. All right, so solid day for bulls out there all around. We still have short-term resistance as the S&P 500 is testing the all-time high right now. But again, the futures chart continues to grind 4-hour EMA 12. It looked like we were about to lose that support as the bears had full control of the morning, but then just an absolute V-shaped move when the bots and algos flipped the switch on NVDA. And we'll look at that in just a moment, but a straight up move off the lows. And so here's the NASDAQ. Again, it's testing its recent high and holding 4-hour EMA 12. And this is called a frustrating bear pattern. I mean, just absolutely, this is full bear control. 5-minute downtrend to start the day, break support, bearish data reaction, lower high, lower low, and then just see ya, new high of the day with slim to no consolidation. We've been seeing these kinds of V-shaped bull recoveries more and more ever since our weekly sucker punch. And again, it was NVDA as a huge part of this move, just very clear automated buying. And yesterday's video was themed with the thumbnail. We know NVDA volatility is coming. Couldn't say it was today, but knew it was with this week, very likely. And it was a little bit tricky because of that weakness. NVDA started strong, lost it with a new low, and that weakness in the NASDAQ and that data reaction. We did hold the low of yesterday. And then this V-shaped move, look at this volume compared to the first 5 minutes of the day. Usually you have the highest volume in the first 5-minute candle. That was massive. Look at the 2-minute time frame. This is just bots and algos gone wild. I mean, if you're not even touching 1-minute EMA 12 for a significant period of time where you're going straight up, you know it's just massive buying. You could see, I mean, the numbers on my screen were just flashing so fast. You know there's massive buying, massive volume coming in, and pretty quickly could see we're going for these daily resistance levels today. And this tightening range broke bull. So bulls aren't out of the woods yet. This is, again, I always want to lay out ideal scenario for bulls, ideal scenario for bears, because if it then happens, it's then very clear to me. And so we knew the ideal scenario for bulls from here is that semiconductors and, of course, NVDA need to see some laggard bullish action because they have the most work to do on the weekly chart, and they had been a bit weaker over the last week. And so NVDA still can form a tightening weekly equilibrium. We're not going to lose sight that if we do not go 10% higher, it can still be a weekly lower high for a continued tightening range. So I'm keeping the same statement where if we're going to see any red flags in the broader market, it will likely originate in semiconductors, but a big sigh of relief today with semiconductors getting their move. And it was tricky, as I mentioned. I didn't nail the meat of this move, but I did play this 2-minute stair step, and I bought, my first buy here was 119. How in the world am I buying here after this kind of move? Because I have the 2-minute stair step guide, and if it breaks, then I just instantly get out. But once I saw the new high of the day, the clear volume ramping up, it was just enough for me to say, all right, I can chase this move because I will have a stop very close by. And then I was doing little bull flips, and still definitely not the size of the gains that I would have liked to have seen on this bull break. Still was able to take advantage of it a bit. Got right towards 5-minute oversold at the end of the day, trying to mark an hourly higher low. And we'll see if we get continuation tomorrow. Still work to do. And again, SMH the same. Daily is an uptrend. But if we're going to set a weekly lower high, if we're red tomorrow in semiconductors, we're going to have to keep an eye on SMH 4-hour rising wedge. Again, I'm not bearish, but I'm bullish, so that means put on my bear glasses. And if we're going to turn around from here, this is what it would look like. And then I observe, does this take place or not? And so if this 4-hour rising wedge were to take shape and break bear, that would be the first indication of a weekly lower high for a continued tightening range. So I know what I'm looking for if there's going to be a red flag. That's how it would happen. XLV, trying to form that 2-day higher low we talked about in yesterday's video. Still a lot of work to do. Bulls have to gain an hourly uptrend by breaking the high of today tomorrow. If they do that, that will be the higher low attempting to be set, and we'll look to keep tightening up here a bit further into the week, maybe into next week. We had XLF break short-term support. We had a triple bottom the last 3 days. We broke that level. I played an oversold bounce here, nailed the bottom, but didn't get any bounce follow through. So hourly bear flag still being on the table had me exit that before the end of the day. Tiny win, uneventful. But again, anticipating XLF, a higher low, is the most likely scenario from where we came from. IWM, still watching this falling wedge from yesterday. I'm just gonna quickly draw it here. Again, video yesterday worth tuning into if you didn't see it. There's some good tips and insight. So here is the potential falling wedge. If that breaks bull, the daily higher low is set. So still trying to shape up. XLF was holding IWM back today very clearly. And so if XLF can shape up a daily higher low, anticipating IWM will benefit. So where is, Chinese names? So here's the headline: Asia markets, stocks up big, a bunch of easing in policy in China. And some of these indices up, having the best day in 7 months or anywhere up to 4 years, best day in 4 years. And we know the Chinese names have clearly been weaker. And I have been looking for these Chinese names to act as laggards over the last probably a bunch of months. One moment. So looking for them to act as laggards over the last bunch of months. And honestly, my takeaway is just I can't trade these Chinese names well because of their gaps, because they trade overnight. It just does not suit my style. But BABA, look at the volume on BABA. Highest volume day in a long time. And just a longer term bottoming pattern is trying to form. This is a Adam and Eve type of pattern. Key resistance from here, 102.50 and then 121.30. But this is a Adam and Eve type of pattern trying to form. We've got FXI, monthly inverse head and shoulders has confirmed. First monthly uptrend that FXI has seen since the adjusted all-time high. So Chinese stocks putting in a convincing bottom with this monster move. And NIO, 2-day bull flag. They shook me out of my swing attempt. Break even stop out. But 2-day bull flag confirmed. 605, long-term resistance being tested. Again, just trying to put in this long-term bottom. Same reason we're keeping an eye on PayPal and all these other names that are just basing out, trying to put in a long-term bottom as the market. Anytime the market says, oh, we're in the clear, okay, we're bullish, I'm going to look for the weaker names. It's just the rotation and looking at where to focus next. And so for me, now Chinese names have gone. What's left is still growth. Bulls definitely want to see IWM hit multiple year highs by getting over 228.63, if that can be a bull flag. So still watching growth names and crypto stocks. I anticipate Bitcoin is going to try and test $65,000 maybe tonight. And again, it's just the metals market. I'll show you metals in just a moment. So much, silver's up 5% today. There's so much confidence in metals. It's like, okay, Bitcoin, this is the backdrop for you to make your move. Bitcoin's testing weekly resistance of an equilibrium. I forgot the Bitcoin ticker. Bitcoin. So tightening up, trying to confirm a weekly inverse head and shoulders and right at resistance. So looking for this resistance test potentially tonight. Oftentimes you'll see that confidence. Oh, we're so confident in the metals, we're going up. Well, we can't trade anymore right now. Markets are closed. Bitcoin's still open. Maybe it carries over there. But crypto stock's still very weak. Wolf is the lead bull. And we broke the, as you can see, leading Bitcoin. We already broke bull. Big day today, up 10%. It's had a really big couple of weeks here. Low cap name, plenty of volume and liquidity. Definitely more volatility. $5 needs to hold on the back test, next hourly consolidation after acting as resistance. Next strongest name in crypto stocks, MSTR, also just barely breaking its weekly resistance, so leading Bitcoin by a bit. But then you got things like Coin, way weaker than Bitcoin in a weekly downtrend. The weekly lower high here is 20% away. MARA and these miners are still really weak. Trying to base out, but still a ton of work to do. CLSK was a lead bull today. Tons of work to do. So if Bitcoin can break 65,000, I'm going to be watching for crypto stocks to try and play some catch up as well if the broader market bulls keep their control with no red flags. So as long as there's no red flags in the broader market, you look around for, all right, who's next? Where's that rotation going to take place? MSOS, solid day today. So broke the weekly lower highs in MSOS for the first time since we topped out earlier this year. Didn't close above resistance, but we also did just go straight up 10% with no hourly consolidation. I don't love that we rejected from this resistance zone. Got to close over it tomorrow. But again, we went straight up 10%. Hourly consolidation just started at the end of today. So no red flags in that regard, but certainly not trusting MSOS much with how weak it has been overall. But loving TCNNF. Just exploring a lack of resistance. Lead bull continues. Relative strength to MSOS. All-time highs continues. And we're just looking up at 13 and 1350 is the next major levels. Didn't even get to hourly oversold in this bull flag. So again, just loving how it's trading. And again, this is where active management is key. So here's my Cannabis account, which double topped at all-time highs today. At its high today, it tested the all-time high. This doesn't have today's update, but it got right up to that level and then pulled back a little bit into the close. But my point here is my Cannabis account is testing all-time highs, and the last time it was there on that big spike, MSOS was up at 1137. We are currently 55% plus under the level where my account was last at these highs. And the reason my account is back at these highs, number one, I sold into euphoria. I use this. This is your big, get off my screen. This is your big red flag, second chance to sell. I was selling, going back to cash, and then loading the relative strength of TCNNF. So the active management of, number one, selling into red flags, and then number two, reallocating capital to relative strength based on a little fundamental thesis and then the chart confirming that that's what's going on. That makes all the difference in the world. As far as, back here, I was all MSOS, and I learned my lesson. There are better ways to go about this than just putting it in the ETF. Dollar. Still weak, still a potential falling wedge, but bears are loving the close at the low of the day. Want to see a break of 121 for another leg down. Metals, again, just so strong. Gold continues its all-time high run. It's on back burner watch for sure. Silver, great recovery. Big drop yesterday, but monster move today. And just plowing through that resistance zone. And here we are testing 11 plus year highs, 32.52. And we got within 1% today of 11 plus year highs. Miners back to GDX, back to multiple year highs, 2.5 year highs. So loving the metals and the miners still. And you may remember pounding the table a little early about the metals. And I was predicting that we were going to get blue sky breakout in gold and that everybody was going to be asking me about metals entries. And I haven't been getting those questions. So I am pleased about that. But back in here is when I started to get real interested in the metals, just knowing this triple top is extremely likely to break bull. All right, oil. So oil hourly oversold led to continuation. Great sign for bulls, big solid 5% bounce. But we know a weekly lower high is the most likely scenario. We're not going to forget that. And now we have to keep an eye on this 4-hour uptrending resistance line. And so is this a rising wedge? It's more of a channel. But if this channel breaks bear, that's the first baby step towards the potential of a weekly lower high being set. If this channel doesn't break bears, bulls keep control. Natural gas, 4-hour consolidation, no red flags. 4-hour EMA 12 support test. Bulls would love to see 15-minute. I was going to say see 15-minute oversold, mark a 4-hour higher low. It didn't. We did drop to lower lows. But as long as 4-hour EMA 12 holds, the bulls keep full control. If we lose it, we'll zoom out and we'll scout a daily high or low. So, still watching semiconductors for the possibility of a weekly lower high. I'm not going to anticipate that that's going to happen. I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to be watching the semiconductors' potential 4-hour rising wedge. And other than that, just one day at a time, because there are nice bull trades out there in this market environment. All right, do good things, and we'll see you tomorrow. I got a new toy. The reason I spent on this toy is because, number one, health benefits. Number two, if the world ends, I can heat it in the winter way easier than I can heat my house. And number three, it adds a bit of value to the property.